Good evening, Flosstube. My name is Mandy. Welcome to my channel, all about cross stitch. My pronouns are she, her. Today is Friday, November 28th, I think. Whatever. Yeah. I think it's it's the end of November. I know that much. And this is my cat Stitches. Can you say hi, baby girl? She totally sounded like she said no. If you are new to my channel, this is my cat Stitches. If you are familiar with her, well, you know she doesn't like to be held. It's been 2 weeks since I filmed last. I hope everyone is doing well and staying warm in this northern hemisphere chilliness. Yesterday was a holiday here in the States. If you celebrate, I hope you had a good day. If it was a hard day for you, I recognize that and hope you found some kind of joy in some stitching or something, had a good meal. To me, it's about getting together with family, enjoying a really good meal, being thankful for, you know, the people that are in my life and the things that I have and all that kind of stuff. To me, the whole reason Thanksgiving became a thing, yeah, we're not gonna go down that road today. But, you know, to me, it's about, you know, a day with family and good food. And it was football yesterday. My team won. Thank you. I'm a huge cheesehead, big Packers fan, so it's they don't always play on Thanksgiving, but they did play the Lions yesterday, and the last handful of years has been a struggle as far as whether the Packers will win or not. For a long time, it's always been Packers dominated. Lions have actually been really good the last few years. There's actually some instances in very recent years where the Lions have beat the Packers, so it can be a crapshoot sometimes. But luckily, my team did good. So I have been on vacation since Tuesday. Was my first day off. I had to work Monday, just PTO running out for the end of the year. So I did work Monday and then I've been off since Tuesday and I'll go back to work on Monday. Haven't really, I had no plans of traveling or anything of that nature, but hanging out with family, all that good stuff. I didn't do anything today in terms of Black Friday shopping. That's not my thing. I have zero interest in fighting crowds and standing in lines waiting for stores to open, and no thank you. Yeah. I did actually end up very unexpectedly, just unplanned. I wasn't planning on going to the grocery store or anything, but my best friend Crystal was saying she needed to go to the grocery store. We're actually expecting a huge snowstorm this weekend, so she's like, you know, kind of prepare in case we do end up getting a lot of snow. I needed to go to Aldi and that. So I said, well, I'll tag along with you. We literally live probably half a mile apart, if that, just because of where she lives in the apartment complex that's right next to my own. So we're practically next door neighbors, so it wasn't anything to go out of the way of. And I'm like, I'll tag along. I could use a few things. We had plans for tomorrow night to go to a concert in Detroit. I'm about 2 hours north of Detroit. We're supposed to be getting 4 to 7 inches of snow starting tomorrow afternoon, so we really didn't want to have to drive 2 hours in a snowstorm one way or the other. And as of right now, it's looking like we're canceling those plans. Luckily, she got insurance for the concert tickets, so we won't be out any money besides, you know, the cost of that insurance or whatever, but it sucks. So yeah. I tend to like to film my floss tubes earlier in the day. I was off today. Thought, hey, today would be a great day to film my floss tube, get it uploaded while I sit and stitch. Have you ever seen the USPS has the informed delivery or whatever, where you can see what mail's coming in? So this morning I saw that I was getting an artist trading card being mailed to me, so I thought, well, let me wait for the mail to come in and then I'll film. Literally half an hour ago, the mail got delivered, when it's usually coming in around anywhere from noon to 1, maybe 2 at the latest. Yeah, it just got delivered. So I figured I'd go ahead and sit down and film real quick and then get back to stitching. So reason why I was waiting, I wanted to hold off on showing my artist trading card. So if you're not familiar, artist trading card, ATC, is it's to be a 2.5 by 3.5 inch card, size of a playing card. And Laura from Stitching by the Shore hosted a swap earlier this fall, I guess, that was 2 of the elements of the earth. So it was earth and fire. Earlier in the year we did air and wind. No, those are the same things. Water and wind, water and air. So now it was earth and fire. So I'm pretty sure I showed what I stitched. Yes, because I did the cauldron. I feel like I shared. No, I don't have that. I'm pretty sure I shared this in, oh, of course. So here's my contribution to it. Cauldron fire. I found it in a magazine, so cauldrons need fire to boil. I had to fall leaf paper, scrapbook paper, and then I had leaves stickers. Those are actually gold, so they sparkle. Get that back to where I was wanting it to be. So what I got in return, this is so cute. It's stitches on a broomstick. So I know Laura just randomly pulls cards. I have no idea that she would actually pick and choose who gets what. I would expect it to be completely random. I know she knows stitches. But I fully believe that it was random. So I just love it. It's so cute. So the stitcher wrote on the back for the element challenge of fire, "The witch flew swiftly, her broom blazing like a comet behind her." And the pattern came from Pinterest. But isn't it cute? And that the hair is actually 3D and sparkly. And we've got the broomstick. So freaking cute. Thank you, Laura, to hosting. I look forward to the next swap. I think she said it was going to be sometime in January, February, maybe. So I love the little ATCs. I have had such a fun time this last couple of years working on them. I'm already signed up for one that I've got to have shipped out by the end of the year. That is, the theme for that one is going to be Stitcher's Choice. So that one is hosted by Link is my homeboy. So we'll see. I have not even begun to think about what I want to do for that. But I did come up with an idea because I have loved all of the cards that I have been sending out. It's like, I need to start, stitching them twice so that I can at least have it for myself. What I've been thinking of doing, and when it comes time to stitching my next card, we're going to see if I actually do this or not. I've got plenty of scraps of Ada that I'm thinking I'll just grab one of these white offcuts because full coverage stitcher, I was looking at it today. When I get like the big big pieces of Ada to cut down for my full coverage pieces, I always have these like random offcuts that are very odd sizes that wouldn't be big enough for another full coverage piece of the sizes that I stitch. So I've been toying with the idea that I want to see if I can figure out how to dye, not a business type of thing, but just do some fabric dyeing, just because what else am I going to do with these random cuts? But then I also thought of, I want to take a good cut and just start stitching and make a sampler out of my own ATCs. So I know Michelle Bendy does her, she's got a retreat spot sampler where when she attends retreats, she gets those patterns in the goodie bags that she wants to stitch an element of it, but maybe not the entire piece, to kind of commemorate that retreat or whatever. She's got that, and then she's also got another sampler, like, what does she call it? My own spot sampler, where again, she's got a collection of patterns, not necessarily from retreats, just things that she's collected over the years that, she wants, there's maybe one particular element out of there that she loves, but she doesn't necessarily have the time or want to stitch the entire piece. So she's been taking smaller pieces and just making one thing. So I thought that I came up with the idea of, why don't I do that with my ATC? And I'm not gonna necessarily, that doesn't mean by stitching it all on one piece of material, I'm not gonna be able to do the actual card like I do with the stickers and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, a lot of the stickers and papers that I have are stuff that I maybe only have for one card anyways. I may not have duplicates of certain stickers and things like that. So I may not necessarily be able to fully recreate it out of my supplies anyways. Trust me, I got a lot of supplies. I could make my own, but it wouldn't match or anything, just... So I thought the idea of, why don't I just make my own spot sampler out of my ATCs, and then that way I'm still maybe getting the element that I stitched without... So we'll see when the time comes for me to actually stitch my own, my next artist trading card. So the next, we're just going to dive into what I have to share. I've got a few whips, no finishes, no new starts that I'm going to share or anything of that nature. I guess you could say this is a start and a finish of what I'm going to stitch on it. So if you've been around before and seen the previous videos, I have been part of a round robin for, this is now our 3rd year that the same people have kept up with it. Michelle Bendy hosted a swap a few years ago that what was our first swap? It was a 14 count. Is this? Oh, ink circles. Wow, my mind could not come up with that. So we selected in ink circles. I think we all did mandalas where you don't really want to stitch the whole thing all over and over again. So we were paired up in 4s. So we each picked out ink circles, mandalas, so that we only had to stitch a quarter. And so I need to get that thing framed. So that was 2 years ago. Last year, the 4 of us decided to stick together and we picked out Carolyn Manning pieces. Again, something that's kind of a 4, I wouldn't call it a mandala really, but definitely something that we had easily dividable into 4 sections so that we all did it. Out of a whole conversation with Michelle, we were the only ones who ended up doing this for this current year. Basically, it was kind of a finish my whip type of situation where they all selected pieces that they had already started but maybe were struggling getting finished or just wasn't really calling to them, that they, we've been working on getting them finished. Not mandala style or anything of that nature, just something that was on the go already. What I ended up doing, I cannot wait to get it back. Megan has done something with it, personalized it somehow, and I cannot wait to see what she did. I picked a chart that has been in my stash, so it wasn't anything that I had started at the time, but it was a chart that was in my stash that I had been wanting to stitch, just had never done anything with it. There was a really cool saying in there, something about stitching, kind of along the lines of my day is not complete until thread and needle meet type of saying, but it was more about stitcher's stash, and I don't remember the whole saying. So I did end up starting it where I put, basically the whole piece is very outdated. So I've had the thing in my stash for maybe 10 or 15 years, but the colors of it looked very much like a 90s piece. And that was probably why I was never starting to stitch it, was because I'd have to do all these conversions and I just hadn't taken the effort for it. So there were some elements on it that I'm like, not tied to anything. If you want to, pick something, again, spot sampler type of thing, you want to put something in that, in place of one of these little doodads or whatever, great. So there was like a potted plant or something that I found from another pattern, a black cat. So I have my little stitches in there. So it's a girl standing with a hoop, stitching something or whatever. There's a couple different borders and whatnot. So I know Danielle ended up stitching half of the girl, so I know, and I love the colors that she chose, so she definitely added, definitely brightened it up a lot. I'm loving what she did. I know she added some hearts that they were each gonna add their initials to. I think she, and Danielle had done a portion of the border. So then Danielle sent it to Megan. And all I know is that Megan went to a retreat with a bunch of people that I'm familiar with from a group chat and Bendy's Flosstube, the Patreon filming live and whatnot. So group of people that I'm familiar with. So she kind of did a group think and got some input of what she should do. And that's all she's telling me. So once I think she's got it stitched and ready to send on. So it's gonna go to a different Michelle, main moose mama. So then once she's done with it, then it's gonna come back to me. So at this point, I think the plan is I'm not gonna see it until I open the package. So I kind of got to think, because I was on a Zoom chat with Megan the other day, that I kind of got to thinking, like, maybe I should just leave it for like my next Flosstube, not to open it until I'm actually filming, so that maybe she can see my reaction to it or something. So long story long, I finally picked up Megan's piece, and perfect timing because I was on a Zoom with her. So it's a witchy stitcher piece. I don't have a picture of the original pattern. As far as I know, it was never released by anything but through Patreon. So it may not even be something that you can get your hands on anyways. I know it's Addams Family, Morticia. So there's still going to be the guy, and then there's another potted plant to add. So what I added to it, the arch was done over here. She was done, like this portion was done, and the bats were done. So I added the chandelier, brought the arch all the way down. Yeah, that was what I did. So we're not gonna look too closely at that, at the chandelier. There was a misstitch, and we decided we were fudging it. But it looks great. It is stitched on a piece of 15 count. Blushing Pink, I think it's called, from the sewing shop, right? A Canadian fabric dyer sewing shop. So this was a fun piece to stitch on. So now it's gonna go to Danielle to finish up or get close to being finished. So I gotta get that in the mail. I've had it in my possession for quite some time. I have Danielle's to get worked on as well. It's been in my possession for a while as well. They knew it was safe. Bear with me here while I pull out a picture that I thought I had on my iPad. Next piece, Northern Expressions needlework. I'm sure we all know it by now. Twisted Rainbow Sampler. So this is the full cross stitch version. This is offered in specialty stitches or just full crosses. And this is the full cross. I do have the paper pattern, but I did end up finding that on the Northern Expressions Etsy shop at the time, I was able to get a PDF. It went into Pattern Keeper perfectly. Can't say the same would happen with the specialty stitch version, obviously, but FYI, the regular full cross stitch piece goes into Pattern Keeper perfectly. So I have been stitching on this. It looks so good. Basically my breaks and lunches, I work from home, and so I get a half an hour break and an hour lunch every day. And so a lot of the times I tend to stitch. I've been trying to stay away from napping all the time. That one's out sometimes, but definitely trying to take advantage of some stitching time as well. And so this has been getting about almost an hour and a half, a little shy of most days for the past couple weeks, I guess. When I picked it up, I finished out a color, so I still had this green to finish. So the butterfly halves were done. I just had to finish this smaller portion of the border here. I had a good bit of the blue, and I haven't touched. I added some up to here, but so these 2 shades of blue, those were already done. I added a little more in here and then finished out the blue. That's all the way there. So if you were to get the specialty stitch version, as far as I know, these columns are rows, angles. Those lines would be your specialty stitch. This is your main crosses, and again, like this would be your specialty stitch. So I do have it all the way done up in the corner. So you've got all your reds and oranges done, yellows are done, green is now done, and I'm still working away. This is 3844. I am, because it's in Pattern Keeper, I picked it up when I was at about 62%, and I think I'm like around 66% done. This is stitched on a piece of material that I absolutely hate. Witchelt, I am not a fan of. Midnight Gray, I think it's called. I think it was called, like the model or whatever was called for stitching on black. I didn't want to do it on just like straight up black, so I found this gray material. I like the color, it is very, very stiff. I'm trying not to worry too much. I've got a couple of white marks from my Q-snap that I probably should have been putting something else between the Q-snap and the material. I'm hoping I don't kick myself in the end from those not being able to come out. But that's my Twisted Rainbow Sampler, and I'm loving it. It's been looking so good. So no anticipations of actually getting it done this year or anything. But, you know, getting an hour and a half, I would say 3 or 4 days a week. It hasn't been all 5 days that I've, like, you know, that I got it worked on or anything. So it's definitely helped move it along a lot further than what I had been working on. Next piece. This is Birdhouse, charted by Stitches So Beautiful. The artwork is by Rosemary Berlin. I am just up here in this very corner up here. Just took it off the Q-snap today so I can use it for something else. So here we go. This one is, I think this is a 16 count, 2 strands full cross. I am plugging away on page 2. So I really added in a good bit of the leaf, and then I've been working away filling in some of this background. Definitely quite confetti. You can tell that it's lots of color changes. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 shades of blue, but it's a lot of, you know, single color stitches, as you can see. I mean, that's 2 different shades of blue right there alone. So it's just slowly filling in, gonna eventually look like that, but it's looking good. Hard to put down, but I got so much other stuff I want to work on too. Let's see. I guess that was just the first one. So Birdhouse is currently sitting at 3.71%. Oh, where'd it go? So my next piece, it's sitting right here in the stack. This is Mini Which Way, artwork by Molly Harrison, charted by Heaven and Earth. I am using this for a challenge that was started from Kim Hollenbeck of Full Coverage Fanatics, Spartan Stitcher on Instagram, where we are stitching for football teams. So I obviously have already talked about being a Green Bay Packers fan, and so for each game they play, I am stitching the final score, their final score times 10, with it being a minimum of 100 stitches. So like, I don't know, was it last week or something, they ended the game with a score of 7. So I didn't want to just do 70 stitches, so I made it a minimum of 100. If they win a game, I'm doing a bonus 100 stitches. If they lose a game, I'm doing like a penalty 200 stitches. And then I'm also doing a total of the passing yards. So like yesterday's game, there was a passing yards of like 234. And so add that up to my stitches. So I started, not very far along, is it week 12? So I'm caught up besides yesterday's game. So I just, earlier this week, I stitched, what would have been, what, week 11? Or it was, week 12. So yesterday's game was week 13. So I'm caught up through week 12. When I started the challenge at the beginning of the season, I just started with regular season, this piece was sitting at 54.78%. I am currently sitting at 63%. And I still need to add another 644 stitches for the week 12. And here we go. It looks funny where I'm at the moment, but there's a reason why it's looking the way that it is. So I forget now which page I'm working on. But I've definitely been filling in, got this whole headstone filled in, and then have been working on the big cross. And the reason why you've got this little angle going on right there, her cape is going to be coming in soon, and I cannot wait. So I have not started working on that cape yet, but that's why my piece, you can see, has that angle coming in, is because it's definitely going to be getting into some black. So again, same thing with the confetti type thing of the stitching. Sorry for my hand there, but you know, lots of color changes within that background or whatever, but it's coming along. That really bright orange right there is her dress. So I'm so excited about getting into this cape and that dress. The dress itself is going to be such beautiful colors. I cannot wait for that. This one is currently sitting at, I think I just said 63%. So this, I plan on using it through the end of the football season. So whether it's just regular season or, you know, Packers make it into playoffs by chance, I'll keep going with that. I do not anticipate that I will get this finished by the end of football season, but this is going to be a focus on a finish sometime in the year 2026. Alright, so this next piece was supposed to be my focus on it. Well, it has been my focus on a finish for this year, but it's not going to get finished this year, and I'm okay with that. I'll try not to throw my iPad again. So this is the mini version of Sea Opal, artwork by Elizabeth Welker, charted by Hayden. I am stitching this for my mom. She knows about it. But I'm really working in this area right in here. We are sitting at 78.15%. And I still have like 23,000 stitches to go. I'm not going to get it done by the end of this year, but I'm okay with that. So I figure this is, so at this point I'm looking at there being 2 finishes in 26 sometime, because which way is going to be finished? This is going to be the first one that gets finished. I'm expecting maybe January, maybe February. So yeah, when you would have seen it last, again, so this is 2 pages, one on top of each other, that I've just really been filling in this piece. And I think a lot of what's really slowed me down this year compared to what I've done in previous years of focus on unfinished pieces has been, this piece has had a lot of confetti. Whew. So like right now, what I've really been doing is starting at the top, finding a symbol and doing what I can within those 2 pages. I am going into the next pages a little bit, just again, when I'm not ending on an even lined page, but I'm not also going too far into the next page either. It's been really bumming me out that I haven't been able to zero out any colors. Like, I feel like I'm getting so far along, but I'm not getting any colors filled out. I was looking the other day, probably 10 or 12 colors that have under 10 stitches remaining for each of those colors that I can't wait to zero out. But because there's so much confetti, there's a lot of colors that are just, it's going to be coming down to the end of, you know, well, that color is now done, that color is now done. And it's going to be zeroing out a lot of colors just as it gets closer and closer to the end. But yeah, I'm just really trying to fill in a lot. Like, rather than focusing on one specific area, I've just been picking one color and working throughout the full 2 pages as much as I can. So another 16 count. Well, I guess this is my last project for today. So everything, all of my full coverage pieces today have been on 16 count, and then I stitch with 2 strands. So yeah, that is my opal. I'm loving the piece. The colors are just amazing, and yeah. So that's all that I have in terms of whips to share. I do want to call the winner. I had a giveaway in my last video for this forbidden fiber. I had asked you for a keyword of fire, had a few people comment, and so Jennifer Burr 8288, I pulled your name. So if you want to reach out to me, best is probably going to be Instagram, stitching B 82, so stitching B as in BEE, 82 on Instagram. I will try to remember to put it in the description box below. Remind me if I don't. Or you can email me, again, same name, stitchingb82@gmail.com. Honestly, Instagram may be your best bet so that it doesn't get lost in email. But yes, Jennifer Burr 8288. Give me your mailing address. Alrighty, a little bit of haul. I have a needle minder obsession. I admit this. I really don't care. There was a conversation recently, Crystal and I were talking. I read the dumbest quote by somebody that should not be in power, but they are. There was something, I don't even know what context it was even said in, something to the effect of people don't know what magnets are. And I made the joke about how, well, my needle minder says otherwise. My needle minder collection says otherwise. That's one of 4 metal signs. Up above is another one. I've got, no, 5. So this is one of 5. There's a second one right above the right outside of the camera. I've got 3 on another wall. Plus I have, you know, those metal carts that everyone has, the crafting carts, or I've got books on it. I've got some there. I have a needle minder collection, and I added more. And I am mad about it. It's stitches with fairy wings. How could I pass that up? And then we got Festive Cat. So it's adorable. I love it. And then, because, you know, stitches in a library. And then we got a Christmas shop. Oh, it's a bookstore decorated in Christmas. I forgot that it's a bookstore. So those are my needle minders because I can't stop. I get those from Gina's Needle Minders on Facebook, so every so often Gina will post like a whole bunch of stuff on a Saturday. You comment on there, me please, and she sends you a PayPal invoice and then ships them out. So yeah, I couldn't resist on getting those. If you are a full coverage stitcher and you have not already heard otherwise, Thread Geeks. So I think it's, I got the website right here. threadgeeks.co.uk. A random post, I'm not actually following the page on Facebook, but a random post had shown up in my feed that said that they were retiring a lot of charts. So I think something had been said in the post that maybe the person that runs Thread Geeks, maybe they've got some health issues going on or something. So they're not closing down, but they're paring down their offerings incredibly. So at the end of the year, there's a lot of charts that are going to be retired. So it's in a clearly marked area on the Thread Geeks website. So there's a lot of really dark art, honestly. But I had no problem finding some charts. But there is a clearly marked area of what's retiring at the end of this year. There was also a banner going across about buy two, get two free or something like that. So I've bought some charts. So, artwork by Micah. I don't know if that's good to focus. It's in small writing right down there. But we got Christelle. Isn't he cute? There's a ton of black in that. From Sarah Richter, we've got The Messenger, or The Messenger book. That one's going to be fun to start, but fun to stitch. Lots of dark colors though. And then from Kate Fedora, we've got The Librarian. And look at that. It's incredible. I feel like this may be a start sooner rather than later. I did get another chart, but we're not showing that today. Yeah, so that is my haul. Did I mention Opal is at 78%? Yeah. I thought maybe I could get this video done a little shorter than my videos have been lately, but I've been a little bit of a talker today. It seems to be about my going thing anymore. Excuse me. So I think that's about it that I have at the moment. So coming up at the end of the year, I am going to be having more time off work. I'm working through December 23rd, and then I am off until the Monday following New Year's. So what is that? I think January 5th. So during that time frame, I am thinking I am going to film a wood parade. So that tends to be a good time for filming that. Haven't decided yet if I'm going to show everything in my stash. We don't have time for that. I've got like 40 something projects, so I haven't decided if I'm going to show everything or if I'm just going to show things that I shared in my mid-year wood parade. I tend to do year-end, I tend to do everything, whether I've touched it or not. I particularly have a few full coverage pieces that have not seen any work this year. Just other things have been calling to me or whatever. So I may just pull them out just to say, all right, here's where it was last year. Yeah. I'm not really one to like plan a whole lot in terms of like, I know I'm starting to see some videos of folks' plans for next year. I really don't plan out a whole lot. I am very much of a stitch what you want when you want. I am enjoying the football challenge. Semi-Sane Stitchers has, I think it's an open group that you can join. Lots of challenges every month. So in December, they've got something called Whip Wranglers. So I had to make a list of 20 projects. And basically, I'm going to roll a dice that's going to give me 1 through 20 to tell me which project to work on. And then I'll roll a second dice, just a 1 through 6, to tell me how many stitches I'm going to do on times 100. So if I roll a 6, I got to put in 600 stitches on a project. So I've already got that like ready to go because the December 1st is Monday. I don't know how that's happened, but yeah, December 1st is Monday. So I'll be starting that. I have decided to actually jump onto WhipGo again this coming year, so for 26. I tried it a couple of years ago and I struggled with the whole this is telling me what I should work on, and I kind of got to a point where I didn't want to work on a project that was on my list. So this year, Jessie Marie has talked about doing her WhipGo. I think she's focused on one particular project that she's taken like the numbers that got called for the month times 100, so number 18 gets called. Yeah, if number 18 gets called, she's doing 1800 stitches, I think. So what I'm actually going to do is that I've got a list of my full coverage pieces that I'm putting them on a wheel, and so that when the numbers get called, I'm going to pick the project based off of a wheel. So it's all going to be full coverage, but I'll spin the wheel twice to figure out which 2 projects. So I don't have 24 full coverage projects, not far off. So I'll just be repeating things. So it's entirely possible that there could be a month that I could end up putting some significant numbers into a piece, you know, a single piece times the 2 or whatever. So we're going to start with seeing about the whole times 100. So, you know, yeah, there's going to be a month that 2,400 stitches could end up going into a piece, but I mean, that's not a struggle for me in terms of I can absolutely get that many in a month without an issue. We're going to see is, you know, okay, so this project gets called for 2,400 stitches. Am I going to be in the mood for that? So we're going to play it by ear. But it's my board, my rules, so if I decide to change it up, I can. If I decide it's not for me, well, you know, I hopefully got some progress on some projects. So that's the whole point of the game anyways. So that's really the extent of the planning I'm doing. There's, you know, Semi-Sane Whip Warriors is an open Facebook group now, so if you want to join, it's going to remain open. So, you know, if you decide at some point to jump in after the first day of the year, you're not restricted to a certain window. They've always got something going on, so I can easily find something to jump in throughout the year on those. Semi-Sane, I think I mentioned that. Kim from Full Coverage Fanatics, she already put out a video of all of the stuff that she's got planned for next year, so I imagine there's plenty more that I can jump in on of joining in on the games that she's come up with, you know, challenges that she's come up with there. So. The only other thing that I thought about doing, I don't know if there'd be any interest in it or not. I'm not going to grab it at the moment because it'd be a bit much, but I've got a tote bag somewhere right over here with projects that I've got either fully kitted up, ready to go, or here's the floss, here's the fabric. I've got the, you know, that may be anywhere from here's some floss pulled for it to it's ready to go. That I thought about maybe flipping, and it's just one of those of, hey, when I'm feeling like a new start, grab something out of the bag and get it started. I could do a separate video if anybody is interested in seeing what all I have in my stash in terms of the kitted projects that are relatively ready to go. Excuse me. I don't know if we'll do that or not. I have no set plans of when any of those are getting started, just kind of a random, I feel like doing a new start. Let's see what I got here. I don't know. Okay. I'm rambling. I'm hungry. Probably should go get some dinner. Get this uploaded. Who knows how long it's gonna take to upload, because there was a video a few weeks ago that literally took all evening. And when I'm uploading, I try to not do anything on my phone so that it just sits and does its thing. So it literally took all night to get uploaded. A couple weeks ago, probably would have been my last video. I think I was working, so I filmed it on my lunch break, went back to work. While I sat and worked, just obviously shouldn't be on my phone while I'm working anyways. Shouldn't be being the keyword. That I just let it do its thing, and I don't think it even took an hour and it was fully uploaded. So, I don't know. Who knows why it takes so long. So, anyways, we're gonna stop rambling now, like I keep saying. We're gonna get some dinner. We're gonna get back to stitching. And, yeah. If you are in the path of the snowstorm, I hope you can stay safe. Hope you have the ability to stay home. The other side of the state I know is set for like 7 to 11 inches or something like that of snow. We're expecting 4 to 7 or something. So, yeah, it's looking like it may be a weekend to stay home and stitch. And I'm not mad about that. It's a little bit of a bummer that I'm missing out on a concert, but it's, you know, not worth a 2-hour drive south in snow to have to then turn around and drive back in it. And it'd probably be, 11 o'clock at night and more snow, and just 75 and snow are not always the best places to be. All right. Yeah. Midwestern goodbyes, right? Hope you're doing well. Hope you are getting lots of stitching time in. Hope the holidays are gentle for you. And yeah, stitch what brings you joy, and we'll see you again soon.